Well, hello and good morning. We're pleased to be here, both on behalf of the Global Digital Asset and Cryptocurrency Association and on behalf of Tabb FORUM. As you know, the Digital Asset Connection this year, previously known as the Crypto Connection Conference, is our flagship conference where we try to advance all three of our value proposition issue areas. So that means business development, education, and policy, for the benefit of our members and also as part of our broader strategy. This year, we've communicated more broadly how we plan and engage strategically around our four impact areas, which include national security, geopolitical positioning, economic growth and job creation, and social outcomes, including unbanked, underbanked, access to finance, and financial inclusion. This year's event, we're very excited about, and we believe actually offers a really unique opportunity, not only for marketing purposes, but also for education between and amongst the public and private sectors, as well as helping to support our broader policy objectives. Coming from the World Bank previously, I've structured a number of different learning communities. I've supported large-scale, high-level ministerial conferences, as well as, those types of events that we're going to walk through today that are meant to not only bring people together, but to actually have an outcome. How many conferences do you go to where the end result is a pat on the back and yay, we all kind of attended, had some drinks, and that's the end of it, and you forget about it in a few weeks? This one is structured so that we're actually going to allow for small table discussion with both rapporteurs who will be recording key comments and feedback, as well as with table discussion leaders, so that we're able to kind of suss out, engage, and get input and perspective that allows us to strategically orient as an industry, as well as to help those of us in the community who are seeking to transition from traditional finance over to the digital asset space. I'm just going to kind of walk through our very lovely and well done. Thank you to our colleague, George Copley, for his design work. But I just want to walk through really quickly a little bit about what we are describing in our sponsor kit, why it's a little bit different, and why you should consider it as part of this year's spend when it comes to your events, marketing, and business development budgets. So I'll kind of get started in a minute, but first I want to introduce my friend and colleague, Bruce Morris, who is the CEO over at Tabb FORUM. Bruce, if you can just give an introduction to yourself, Tabb FORUM and Tabb Group, and why we have engaged for the past few years in such a successful way around commercial partnerships. So Bruce?
Thanks, Gabby. Hi, everyone. As Gabby mentioned, my name is Bruce Morris. I'm the CEO of the Tabb Group, which includes Tabb FORUM, our online information resource platform focusing on the wonderful world of the capital markets and mostly the market structure aspects of the capital markets. Tabb FORUM is a global resource. It covers all the four primary asset classes, including digital assets, but also equities, fixed income, and derivatives. So the reason we produce this event with Gabby and the Global DCA is they are just an amazing partner. I love working with Gabby. We got started during the pandemic and just have never looked back. So Gabby came up with a great agenda, and I just want to reinforce the comments she made on the roundtables. This is something new that we're trying this year to get more of an intimate engagement between our speakers, sponsors, and all of our delegates. So one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. So I'm really looking forward to it. And with that, Gabby, I'll turn it back to you.
Sure. So this year's event we're hosting in Stamford, Connecticut. We've done previous events in New York City, but based on some of the extreme success of the Crypto Mondays out in Stanford, as well as the support from a number of East Coast blockchain and digital asset associations, we've decided that this year we're going to base in Stamford, Connecticut. This also gives us a bit more opportunity with regards to space, venue size, and ability to accommodate both a larger group as well as to have control and ease of access. So this gives us, again, a full buyout of a venue, which I think is ideal, especially when you're bringing together such a dynamic and diverse group as we plan to do with our attendees this year. Our venue is the loading dock, which is, again, a multi-purpose space used both for corporate as well as reception, weddings, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, those types of things. But it is a very clean slate, largely white walls, beautiful furniture selections, as well as, original brick walls that we're able to, again, decorate, use with different votive candles, so on and so forth. So we're very much looking forward to creating an intimate, engaging, and dynamic event. So I wanted to kind of go through, again, we're looking at a bit of a down market. We're looking at the fact that there's a need to kind of bring people together to shift some of the narrative around what the industry is and what it could be. And also to make sure that, as we step forward, we're focusing on those things that we know really matter. So what you'll see is very much oriented around the 4 kind of outcomes that the Global DCA engages around, including taxonomy, stablecoin and payment tokens, custody issues, as well as self-regulation. There is a lot here that is meant to suss out and to focus very heavily on what we know are key pain points, not only for our member firms, but also for those that are engaging in this space more broadly and trying to participate successfully from an institutional perspective. Okay. Our goal is to make sure that there are high quality networking opportunities, as Bruce mentioned, as well as to make sure that we are addressing some of these challenge areas that play very much to the strengths of our sponsoring organizations. What I mean by that is that if we have challenges, well, then there are solutions. And that's where a lot of your firms come in. We'll be beginning in the morning of June 7th. So we've selected this date specifically because of the fact that it doesn't have conflicts. It's very nicely positioned towards the beginning of the summer session. So temperatures are reasonable. And we also know that we can get full attention of those attendees. Our goal is to have sort of, like I said, start with a networking breakfast, again, go into welcome remarks. We've already started to sell on this piece to Global DCA member firms. Again, if you harken back to your membership benefits, one of them is preferred positioning or opportunities for sponsorships, speakerships, so on and so forth. Along those lines, we have reserved those to the side for either existing or candidate member firms of the Global DCA. So we've already started, I think, with the sale of 1 platinum or diamond sponsorship, which has already been set aside for LMAX Digital. We have 1 remaining diamond sponsorship, which would be at the highest level, which would allow for the ability to speak and to have curated discussion, either as a keynote or an armchair discussion as part of our agenda. Our opening panel starts with working through cutting through the chaos, right? So this is the digital asset landscape midway through 2023. Again, we've known that there's a lot going on in terms of news, in terms of what's coming out. But what we've done is tried to craft an agenda that has like the ability to be resilient in the face of what we know is a very changing environment, but also to ensure that we're focusing people's conversations on the things that matter from a policy perspective, matter from an education perspective, and matter from a business development perspective, okay? So in this session, we're going to walk through, like, again, what are the key market or regulatory events? How is your firm positioned? What solutions are going to drive your business? This is an opportunity, again, to raise very visibly with a non-commercial angle some of the great achievements that we've seen with our businesses in this space. And then what do you see coming down the pipeline? We then have a second thought leadership presentation and a morning networking and coffee break. We focus then on, mobilizing the mainstreaming of the digital asset space. How do we turn institutional needs into industry action? Meaning that we recognize that there's a bit of a cliff here between what is being offered in the market and what is really needed in order to make this next step into institutional grade. And so really trying to suss that out both for your business development teams, as well as whoever does strategy on your side, as well as policy, is very important. And so what we're going to do is kind of like a rapid response panel. It's a quick 20-minute panel to tee up the current challenges. Panelists will then descend from the podium or from the stage and take their seats at a myriad of tables that have been collected. Participants will provide about 20 minutes, and they have a selection of 3 questions to address during that time. Each of the prior panelists now leads that roundtable session and looks to kind of drive and engage and discuss both some of the unique aspects of their own business, again, from more of a thought leadership perspective, but also to try to engage and to suss out what are some of the challenges that we're seeing with some of their peers, with some of their clients and customers, okay? At the end of that, we come back to the stage for a quick 5 or 10 minute wrap up and reporting back. And then what you'll notice is that rapporteurs will be utilized to capture responses throughout this. When we do some of these conferences, especially if they're meant to cultivate change and development in an industry, the important piece is that reporting back comes through so that you're able to leverage that as part of the overarching narrative that you're going to drive for the industry, as well as supporting any of the firms that are within that industry in understanding more broadly what the pain points are, how they can orient strategically or from a marketing or messaging perspective, as well as how that drives some of their policy priorities, okay? We then go into stablecoin and payment token innovation. We know that legislation is imminent in this space, especially, I would say, given some of the recent activities that we've seen with regards to depegging, but then ability to rebound and rebalance. So I think here we're going to see sort of a nice panel conversation on what is the value of stablecoins. How do we really, address some of what we're seeing coming down the line? Who and with what do we address some of the pros and cons? And then, starting to broker peace between the CBDC and stablecoin conversation. We have a second thought leadership presentation. This again is related back to the tiers and levels of sponsorship, and we break for lunch. The afternoon sessions, again, are meant to kind of drive that more engaging, more one-to-one, less passive, more active opportunities for participants as well as for sponsors. Here, we're going to see opportunities to enhance quality, balance market integrity and consumer protection, and then really delve deep into the current trading and exchange environment, both for CeFi and for DeFi. Some of this is done from a policy perspective to bring together 2 groups that have at times been at odds. From an education perspective, it's to offer insight to those firms that are trying to navigate this space and engage heavily in terms of how to step into the digital asset realm. And then I think ultimately, from a standpoint of business development, it's to showcase the thought leadership, the examples of how your products work and function in order to attract and drive interest. At the conclusion, you're going to have, again, a very strong focus on quality, care, and custody, which we believe is the heart of consumer protection. So really looking at, like, what are the legal barriers? What are the certifications? Helping some of the institutions make decisions that we know are very relevant to them at this time. Should they build their own solution? Should they buy? Should they work in partnership with any of our member firms? These are all things that need to be addressed and have an opportunity for really driving, high quality engagement. The afternoon is really more networking and coffee break. And then we then go into some of our closing panels. What we've seen with regards to Capitol Hill from a policy perspective has been around diminishing the utility, value, and impact of digital assets. Here, what I think is important, if I'm playing to some of those on the line, today is really focusing on the fact that, we do have an interest in promoting the fact that there are non-security ways of engaging with digital assets, that many of these are heavily commoditized, that they can advance environmental social governance objectives, that they offer sort of unique ways to also hit upon some of the challenges that we see around food security. So transport and logistics, working on some of the opportunities for titling. These all offer an ability to showcase what the utility and impact of digital assets are. As we close into the end, you have again a closing keynote and armchair. As we've talked about, those are reflective of what some of the different levels of sponsorship are. We have our closing comments and then again an evening reception. We know as well that there are at least one who are looking to do sort of specialty VIP dinners or packages. And this is something that, again, if you would like to work with us to create sort of a la carte option for your firm in terms of sponsorship, we have a number of different options that exist. So evening receptions, charging stations, lunches, tote bags, in addition to the traditional kind of diamond or lead sponsorship packages, gold, platinum, foundational, so on and so forth. I'm going to turn it over to Bruce momentarily just to kind of walk through what we're seeing at each of the different sponsorship levels. And I want to draw your attention to one of the newer products that we've been able to offer both last year and then again this year, which is the 1-year Tabb FORUM Industry Guide Premium Listing. So Bruce, I'll have you kind of walk through the diamond, lead, platinum, and gold sponsorships. And then we can kind of maybe if there are questions, open them up, and I'll stop recording at this point. So go ahead, Bruce.
Thanks, Gabby. So the top sponsorship, we only offer 2. And as Gabby mentioned earlier during her presentation, it's been acquired by LMAX Digital. They're going to do the opening keynote, and then the diamond sponsorship also gets another panel spot as a speaking opportunity, plus all the marketing and other collateral information that's listed in the guide here. The nice thing that we're doing is Tabb FORUM recently created an industry directory product called the Tabb FORUM Industry Guide, and all of our participants with these sponsorships receive a year's listing for their company with all their product information and executive profiles in that guide. The next sponsorship, the platinum level, and there's 4 of those available. 1 has been sold, so actually there's only 3 left, is those thought leadership opportunities that you saw during Gabby's presentation. So there's you get one of those, and then you also get a panel speaking opportunity along with all the other elements listed in the guide. Gold sponsorship is primarily the marketing and 1 panel spot. And then those 3, diamond, platinum, and gold, are your speaking opportunity sponsorships. From there, foundation and all the other ancillary sponsorships, the lanyard, the lunch, we have a tote bag, the coffee breaks, and the beverage, the morning breakfast. We do have 1 sponsorship available on the evening reception. We're limiting it to 2. Aon has committed to that. We do have charging stations if you want to take the marketing opportunity for people charging up their phones. And Gabby, can you just turn the page? Because I think we have some others that one in particular that I wanted to mention. So the last one, well, seat drops, the breakfast, the Wi-Fi. The location is about 2 minutes from the Stamford train station, and we've arranged for a shuttle van to take people if they're going to be taking the train up from Grand Central into Stamford. So there's some nice signage opportunities. And one, if you want to do it exclusively, we have one price. And if you want to share that with another company, we have a lower price. So that pretty much outlines all the sponsorship opportunities. Just from an attendee standpoint, we are expecting anywhere from 250 to 300 delegates. And then, of course, all of these sponsorships also include a list of names and emails for your top of funnel lead gen. So with that, Gabby, I think I'll turn it back over to you, unless there's something you think I missed.
No, I think that that's good. I think there's a few things just to make mention of that are important here. One is that why are we doing this at a state level, especially in Stamford? As we've talked about, like a lot of this is about making sure that we're gathering and leveraging state associations, engagement, because a lot of what we're seeing, and I can speak to this from personal experience now that we're simultaneously battling some of the policy issues at the federal level and now at the state level, is that state level engagement is going to be crucially important. Connecticut, we know, has legislation on the table, as well as Illinois, coming up Texas, Louisiana, so on and so forth. One of the things that we will likely be doing is bringing together state associations to the side for a state association brunch, where we go through and discuss how to push back and engage. I think in terms of business development as well, business is great, but it doesn't happen in DC. Business happens throughout the rest of the 50 states. And so that's sort of the important piece that I think, again, when we talk about how do we help position your firm as a leader in quality, as a TradFi DeFi straddle, and also to ensure that you make it through the next couple of months and that we're successful in terms of being able to position us as part of this next wave of building a digital financial future. Partnering with groups like Tabb FORUM, and I'm going to ask Bruce just to go through really quickly some of the statistics, because I think that they're really exciting. Number of followers that Tabb FORUM has, and again, over 19,000. These are active community participants. These are firms that have budgets and are looking for guidance as to how to build and grow. From our side, Tabb FORUM again has been a strong, resilient, and leading voice when it comes to quality in the traditional capital markets and around market structure. And so it's for that reason that we believe it's very important to partner and to begin to position your firms, again, almost like we're a little bit of the digital asset yentas, Bruce and I, but starting to position and connect your firms to these other firms, because we know that there's appetite. These firms still have budget, and we want you to be successful both from a business development as well as a policy, as well as an educational outcome. So I'm just going to go ahead.
Thanks, Gabby.
I'll
just a couple of the metrics. So Tabb FORUM, as I mentioned earlier, it's a global information resource platform. We have close to 50,000 members. We publish a weekly digital asset newsletter, in addition to all of our other asset class newsletters and a daily newsletter. That newsletter has 17,000 subscribers who just wanted to get that information alone. The social media platforms, and that was the 19,000 number that Gabby mentioned. That's our Twitter and LinkedIn followers. So we have this amazing megaphone that we're able to leverage to promote the event and registration opportunities and the different speakers. And you'll see over the next 3 months just a ton of social media promotion, promoting the speakers, promoting the sponsors. You'll see banner ads on Tabb FORUM itself, and as well as in all of our newsletters, not just our digital asset newsletter. Mm-hmm. So It's a machine that we were able to leverage and helps us generate the delegates and create all the excitement for the event.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop record now, and then we can go ahead, and if there's any questions, we can go ahead and get started. So let me just stop there.